So let's say, for example, a patient has rotator cuff pain on the right side, and it's always the right side, not so much the left. A lot of times it's an imbalance between the pec muscle. Okay, so as the shoulder misaligns, as it does this, then the pec muscle can tighten, which tightens up a lot, and then the back here, the rotator cuff, can get weaker and weaker, whereas this pec can get stronger and stronger. And that imbalance can start to pull on the tendons, and that can actually cause a rotator cuff tear. So what we want to do is we want to try to look at the spine. We always start with the spine. Even though the patient may be coming in for a direct shoulder and no spine pain, the spine has a direct effect on the shoulder. The reason I say that is because if you look from the side view or from the front view, if someone is kyphotic, so let's say for example they're hunching, even though there's no pain, they're hunching and then they're twisting and they're rotated like this, or there's scoliosis, there's tilting, that can put a lot of pressure throughout the shoulder, causing this movement to happen. If this happens, then no matter what we do with the shoulder, the problem can continue to happen again and again, because there's extra stress on that right side of the whole shoulder joint. We want to get the spine working as well as possible. We want to get maximum extension. Okay, we want to try to balance the spine so the patient is upright. If they're not twisting, they're not tilting, they're not rotating, and so it minimizes the chances of the shoulder from having a problem. Once we look at the spine and it's functioning well, the shoulder itself may need adjusting as well, because a lot of times the shoulder, as it rolls forwards, it can start to misalign. It can start to go forwards and down, and it can stay in that position until it gets adjusted. So, and when that happens, a lot of times you'll find that the patient is going to have trouble lifting the shoulder. So if they lift up like this, they may get to a point where it catches. They can't lift up much more. It's because the shoulder's misaligned. Or if they move to the side, they can't lift up more than this. And they get to here and it starts to hurt. Or they have problems going backwards. So all of those can be a sign of shoulder problems itself as well. So we wanted to look at the spine first and then look at addressing the shoulder joint. With the shoulder joint, we want to look at trying to align it back in its right position, and also to give out stretches to help to minimize the imbalance between the pec and also the rotator cuff. The exercise that we showed before, especially in terms of the rotator cuff with the TheraBand, can be very effective for trying to strengthen the rotator cuff muscle. That's super important to help to hold the shoulder in place. If the rotator cuff muscles are weak and it gets lengthened, over time it can start to get weaker and weaker, and that can cause the imbalance of the pec going stronger and stronger, and this gets weaker and it starts to put more tension and strain on the tendon. As it gets more and more tender, like more tension on the tendon, then you can actually start to tear. You can have micro tears, and over time that can start to lead to a frozen shoulder. So we want to try to rehab the shoulder by trying to get the spine working as efficiently as possible, and also to get the shoulder joint better, but also to give out stretches and also start to strengthen the rotator cuff muscle. Okay, so looking long term, that's what will help to minimize the chances of the rotator cuff problem coming back again.